Hello, sports fans, and welcome to Get on the Sports number 1. That's right, the first episode of the Get on the Sports podcast. This is my solo podcasting debut, so forgive me if I'm a little sloppy at times. But yeah, really excited to get started. And guys, first of all, I just really want to thank all of you for the support I've gotten so far for this passion of mine. It started with my sports stat page on Instagram, and it's expanded into this podcast. So really excited to see where this goes, and I just really appreciate the support so far. And if you're not already, please consider following Get On The Stats on Instagram. That's at Get On The Stats, like the name of this podcast, except replacing sports with the word stats. An update on my Instagram page. I know I haven't uploaded a post in a while, but I promise you I'm working on the statistical team of the year update, which I was technically going to do an update for after round 15 of the NRL, and it's already round 23, but I'm still going to do it. Just going to have to go back in time a little bit and see what the best statistical team was at that point, and then hopefully I will get to do the actual team of the year statistically after round 25. But yeah, promise you I'm working on it. I'll try and get that out as soon as possible. So we're not going to waste any more time. We're going to get straight into the news. And we're going to start with the F1. I know there hasn't been a lot of breaking news over the last few days. We're in the middle of the summer break. But there's certainly still some news regarding the Oscar Piastri saga and all of that drama, where he's going to end up next year. Of course, Fernando Alonso ditched Alpine and signed with Aston Martin, leaving a vacant seat at Alpine, but then Alpine assuming that Ocon and Piastri will be their drivers of 2023, and even making an announcement on social media before Oscar Piastri replied by saying no, he wasn't going to drive for Alpine, creating a lot of drama and I'm sure a lot of headaches for Alpine. So yeah, my thoughts on this, I can't see Piastri driving for Alpine next year. I feel bad for Alpine because they've done all this work to develop this driver through their own ranks, only for them to not end up driving for their star driver, Piastri, driver of the future, to not end up driving for them. That hurts. But to be fair, Alpine kind of fucked it all up anyway. I don't know whether their post on social media saying that Piastri was theirs was some ploy to kind of like a power trip, basically, just like telling Oscar, oh, we still have you, and then Oscar Piastri's like, well, no, you actually don't. I'm gonna go sign with someone else, and it's looking like that might be McLaren. I think it's kind of confirmed that that's Piastri's most wanted team to join. But of course, Norris and Ricciardo are still technically both under contract there at McLaren. So there's obviously Norris isn't going to be replaced. He's the long-term future for McLaren. So Ricciardo is obviously the driver in question. But for him to leave, he's also going to have to agree to leave because he's technically still under contract. But I think one way or another it'll get done. I think Piastri will go to McLaren for 2023 and partner with Lando Norris. I think Daniel Ricciardo will fill in that vacant seat at Alpine. I can honestly see Ricciardo going elsewhere. I can see Alpine maybe wanting to sign someone else, like another young driver, because they couldn't get Piastri. They might want to sign Théo Pourchaire, who's currently second in Formula 2. But I don't know. I feel like the easiest option to think about is just Ricciardo going to Alpine. He's obviously been on Renault before, under a different name now, of course, but he'd have a lot of the same connections, including partnering Ocon, which he's done in the past. Yeah, so I'm going to say Alpine will have Ocon and Ricciardo, and McLaren will have Norris and Piastri. And this got me thinking about what the other driver lineups could look like for 2023. So what do we know already? We already know that Red Bull, Ferrari, Mercedes, the big three are all set, all their drivers under contract. None of them will be leaving, so that's Verstappen, Perez, Leclerc, Sainz, Hamilton, and Russell. They're all set in stone. And joining those teams is now Aston Martin, of course, with Alonso moving there after the retirement of Sebastian Vettel. And he will partner Lance Stroll, of course. I know, like, most teams don't really like to consider that they have a number one driver, but, like, you know, like, with all, like, the official stuff, and I'm sure they'd have to, like, list driver one, list driver two here or there. Like, I'm interested to see how Aston Martin approach that, because I think, like, officially Stroll was driver number one over Sebastian Vettel, and he could be again over Fernando Alonso, which is pretty funny to me. But yeah, look, I can't see Stroll outperforming Alonso there. Who else do we have? I also think they're not officially set. There's rumours whether any of these teams will also change their driver lineups, but I think Alfa Romeo and AlphaTauri are also set with their driver pairings. I don't think they will change for next year. Alfa Romeo obviously just got 2 new drivers for this year, a completely new lineup of Bottas and Zhou. Obviously, Bottas isn't going anywhere. The only one under speculation is whether Guan Yu Zhou will be... Zhou Guan Yu, sorry, apologies. Whether he'll get replaced. But I can't see that happening. Like, it's only been a year. Zhou has been... Like, he's been pretty solid, and I think he deserves to be given more time to show what he's worth. Yeah, I know Teo Porcher is obviously the up-and-comer. He's very highly touted, currently second in F2, and there's a lot of speculation whether he'll go to Alfa Romeo, but I don't know. I just can't see them replacing Zhou this early, and I just don't think that would be overly fair. So I think Alfa Romeo is set, and AlphaTauri as well, as I said. I think Gasly and Tsunoda... Look, I mean, I personally think Gasly should go elsewhere, but I mean, I think he just re-signed with AlphaTauri this year. Yeah, it's a weird one. Gasly's such a good driver, and I just think, like, it's clear he's not going to be going back to Red Bull anytime soon. Why would he stay in the sister team that will never be the best team in the sport? Because as soon as... If AlphaTauri suddenly come out of nowhere really good... I mean, Red Bull are going to know about it, and they're just going to put all their resources back into Red Bull. So, yeah, I'm not sure what Gasly's intentions are. It's a shame that he's already signed, because if he hadn't signed yet, and all these spots are now opening up over the silly season, then I could see Gasly going to Alpine or something like that. I think that would be really, really cool. The 2 Frenchmen on the French team, Ocon and Gasly, for Alpine. I mean, that would be really cool. But yeah, anyway, I think AlphaTauri is set. I don't... Like, you know, there's also speculation whether Tsunoda still deserves a chance. This is his second year in F1. He still hasn't... He's definitely improved. He's doing a lot better this year than he was last year. But, you know, whether he's still, like, whether he's putting in the performances that the team or that, you know, would have wanted, I'm not sure. But I think Tsunoda deserves another year at least in the sport. 2023, I think he'll be there. And, you know, look, whether they still think he can make the move to Red Bull, they've got time to do that, because Perez and Verstappen aren't going anywhere anytime soon. So, yeah, And that leaves two more teams, Williams and Haas. Now, I think both of these teams will have a new driver for 2023. I think they'll join McLaren and Alpine in having some new drivers. Williams obviously just re-signed Alex Albon. But I think Latifi will go. I just can't see how Latifi can stay another year. Obviously, like, I could understand this, their situation at the time of bringing him in in 2020 when, obviously Latifi's a rich kid, has lots of rich daddy money. We all know that. So he was going to support the team financially there, but I think it's Doralton Ventures there now or something. Currently providing a lot for Williams. I think Williams are doing all right financially, so I don't think they need the services of Latifi anymore. And I don't think they should either. Sorry, Nicholas. We all know he'll be the GOAT forever. And that he will leave a lasting impact on the sport as the GOAT, but he's got to go. And there's a lot of speculation, I think, behind this that he will as well. I think the possible drivers to replace him could be Nick de Vries, obviously current Mercedes reserve driver, and I think the third driver for Williams as well. Nick de Vries, obviously he has. I mean, he won Formula 2 in 2019 and still hasn't gotten a seat. I mean, it's quite remarkable. So 2019. Actually, he spent. Okay. So this is what Nick de Vries' racing career outline has kind of been. He came in 2014. He came first in the Formula Renault 2.0 and the Formula Renault 2.0 Alps. He came first in both of those. He came in 2015. He came third in Formula Renault 3.5 series. 2016, he came only sixth in the GP3 series, and then he spent a few years in Formula 2. To be fair, he didn't get he didn't win straight away or get cracking straight away. 2017 came seventh in F2, and 2018 he came fourth in F2. And then, of course, in 2019 he won. And then 2019 to 2020 Formula E, he came 11th, so not amazing. In 2020 he came fifth in the European Le Mans series. But in 2020 to 2021 seasons, he came first in Formula E. So he won Formula E. But he's only just managed to be a reserve driver for quite a while now. And how old is he now? I think he's 27. So look, I don't know too much about him. I obviously see like his name always floating around F1, but he's never been able to make that jump. I don't know. I'd like to see what he's all about. I wouldn't mind getting to know him, and just seeing how he can do. I don't know if he'll have the biggest impact on the sport, but I wouldn't mind seeing him. I want to see what he's all about. I wasn't really following F2 closely at the time that he won. And Williams' other option is Logan Sargent. He's obviously highly touted to be in Formula 1 one day. I think the Williams chief boss actually said that himself, that he's like definitely going to be in F1. Not giving too much away though, whether like Williams will actually have him for next year or if it's just in the future. How old is Logan? He's American, so he could be the next American F1 driver. He's 21. So still really young. This is how his racing career has gone in summary. He came second in 2016 to 2017. He came second in the Formula 4 UAE Championship. In 2017, he came third in the F4 British Championship. In 2018, he could only manage fourth in Formula Renault Euro Cup. 2019, he came only 19th in F3. So he went around again in F3 in 2020, and he came third that time, so that's very good. Well, pretty good. 2021, he came 7th in F3. And then 2022, he's been racing in F2 this year, and he's currently third for Carlin. So yeah, I think he is a future F1 driver. He's touted as one. I don't think he'll be in the sport next year. I mean, I don't know too much about him, but I just feel like he might have one more year in F2, or one more year at least. I don't know. So I'm gonna say I'm not too confident on this, but I'm gonna say Williams will go with Albon and Nick De Vries. Look, I think they just need a change from Latifi. And moving on to Haas, the final team we haven't talked about. I think they'll replace Schumacher as well. I don't think Schumacher has been going as good as like people think. I don't know. Like I think it's like easy for people to think about the name Mick Schumacher and be like, oh yeah, like he's a really good driver, good young kid, and he is. I mean, he is a good driver. He won F2, deserves his spot in F1, but I just think, and I know the 2021 Haas was just abysmal, but it took him quite a while to get his first points this year when Kevin Magnussen started really strong. Yeah, I don't know. I think he's probably been like in the bottom 3 drivers this year. I don't know. He's, yeah, I don't know. I don't think he's as good as people make him out to be. I mean, I like him in the sport, and I have to admit, I like having the Schumacher name in the sport. I mean, like I just find it so cool that, like when second generation, F1 drivers make it to the sport like their fathers did as well. Like, because like it's not as easy as you think. Like, sure, your father was an F1 driver, but like you have to go through all of the work as well to get there. And props to Schumacher for doing that. Yeah, but I think this is a big call. I can easily see Magnussen and Schumacher just staying for the 2023 season. But I'm going to say Haas will sign Théo Pourchaire. Not too confident on this one, but I think Pourchaire has a big chance of being in the sport next year. I mean, he's only 18, which is crazy. But he's highly touted. In 2018, he won the French F4 Championship Junior. In 2019, he won the ADAC Formula 4 Championship. In 2020, he came second in F3. In 2021, he came 5th in F2. And this year in F2, he's currently sitting second. So yeah, I think like Pourchaire is definitely looking like he's going to be a driver in the future, and I think it's a good chance even as early as next year. I know he's been connected to going to Alfa Romeo, but as I said, I just don't think Alfa Romeo will try change their driver. So I'm going to say another Ferrari powered team, Haas. I know he could literally go anywhere. He could fill the spot in Alpine. He could go to Williams. I don't know. But I just think being connected to a Ferrari-powered team. Haas, there's some sort of connection for me to make there. Haas have got a lot of options, though. They don't have to pick like a Ferrari Junior or anything like that. They could go with Schwartzman, but I mean, would that be much of a step up from Schumacher already? I don't really think so. They could sign Giovinazzi, return him to the sport, but I think, like, again, would he be that much of a step up from Schumacher? They could, of course, sign Hulkenberg, Nico Hülkenberg. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that'll eventuate. They could even sign Ricciardo. I don't know. There's just a part of me that feels like maybe Ricciardo could go to Haas, but I'm not sure. Okay, so that's enough of that. I'll give a quick rundown of what I think the 2023 driver lineups for Formula One will be. Red Bull, Verstappen and Perez. Ferrari, Leclerc and Sainz. Mercedes, Hamilton and Russell. Aston Martin, Alonso and Stroll. Alfa Romeo, Bottas and Zhou. AlphaTauri, Gasly and Tsunoda. McLaren, Norris and Piastri. Alpine, Ocon and Ricciardo. Williams, Albon and De Vries. And Haas, Magnussen and Pourchaire. Alright, and moving on to the NRL now. There's going to be, most of the news I'm going to be reporting about is, at the moment, is going to be a lot of F1 and NRL news. I'm deep into both of those at the moment. As you know, if I'm still going by the summer, as that rolls around, I will probably start incorporating a bit of cricket in there, and maybe even tennis once the Australian Open rolls around. But for now, we're heading into finals in the NRL, so there's lots to talk about, and Cameron Ciraldo signing a 5-year deal to be head coach of the Bulldogs. I think this is a really good move for the Bulldogs. They got their man. Cameron Ciraldo, the most the most in-demand assistant coach ever. He hasn't even, been a head coach in the NRL, but clearly all the clubs see something in him, and he was in high demand, and Bulldogs got him. Bulldogs are looking really good for next year and the future. It's already been a big step up for this year. I know they're not going to play finals, but I think they're definitely the best of those bottom 5 teams that were out of finals contention before this week. Yeah, I just feel like Bulldogs are making the right signings. I feel like it's a lot like the Sharks and Broncos of this year, where over the last off season, they weren't making unnecessary signings. They just made the right ones, and the Bulldogs are acquiring Reid Marnie and Viliami Kikau, who are 2 certain starters for them next year, and then a coach, Cameron Ciraldo. Bulldogs, I think this all but assures Bulldogs are playing finals next year. Rolling around over the off season, I don't think my opinion will change on that. I have him in the 8 for next year. I think most people would. Like, all these signings are just so exciting. So yeah, I can't wait for the Doggies to play finals footy soon. They're a club doing the right things. And now we're going to review the round of footy that was round 22 in the NRL from over the weekend. Just going back to the F1 for a second. One driver whose name never gets mentioned around, but he's currently winning F2 this year, is Felipe Drugovich. Now, who is he driving for again? That's right, he's driving for MP Motorsport. Now, I'm not sure what kind of connection they have to any of the teams in F1, but is Drugovich a chance? How old is he? He's 22. And And how many years has he been in F1? No, not F1, sorry, F2. Since 2020. And to be fair, he came 9th in F2 in 2020 and 8th in 2021. But yeah, currently winning. I mean, is Drugovic a chance? I don't know. I can't see it, but like, isn't it crazy to think that the driver that's coming first doesn't have the highest chance of making it into F1 next year? Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know him that well. I obviously know his name, but yeah, never gets floated around as a chance for next year. Interesting, but yeah, I'm not really sure who he would be connected to. Maybe Haas or something, but anyway. All right, back to the NRL. Round 22, starting off with Thursday night. Storm shut out Panthers to keep title race alive. The Storm upsetting the Panthers at home 16-0. I'm not sure when the last time the Panthers were kept scoreless, but I know the last time they were kept scoreless at home in Penrith was also against the Storm, and that was in 2015, which is a crazy long time ago. I think that was 20-0 as well, so like a very similar scoreline. But the Storm this time around winning 16-0. Yeah, really, really impressive from the Storm. Their goal line defense in this game was just incredible. Really good game to watch, this one. Really good. It was really high quality footy for pretty much the whole game, but especially before the first try was scored, which took about like 18 minutes or something. Really high quality. There was only like a couple errors in that time, maybe only one. And the first stoppage only came to like after 7 minutes or something. Like really good, high quality end-to-end footy. And I thought when Api Coruscant made that break it was like around the 15th minute or like just before the first try, he made the break, and then the Panthers shifted the ball onto Isaac Tungle and were like a millimetre short. I thought that was the turning point. I thought like, all right, the Panthers might score next, but then I think it was literally the next set. Storm shift it wide. Justin Olam goes down the left and puts in a beautiful deft kick, and bounces a few times, and there's Nick Meaney in support on the inside, scores, and then the Storm were away. How good is Justin Olam? I mean, just an elite centre. I love that he's improved his passing and like even kicking game. It's not really a kicking game, but like he can put in little grubbers and little like chip kicks over the top on the inside, as he did twice this game. Nearly led to 2 tries, but he got 1 try assist for it. He's really improving, Justin Olam, and elite centre. He was making line breaks, try assists in this first half. He even made like a couple try savers. I know he did one on Brian Toto as Panthers are shifting out wide. Yeah, he's crazy good, Olam. Crazy good. Just an absolute beast. Interesting that Meaney and Munster swapped roles for the game. I know that Munster was named at 6 and Meaney was named at fullback, but they ended up swapping, so Munster played the game at fullback, and it worked. I mean, 2 weeks at fullback, Munster is absolutely killing it. Just like the numbers he achieves are just insane. These are some of the numbers he got for the game. He got 196 running meters, 1 line break assist, 9 tackle breaks, 1 offload, 489 kicking meters, and 1 forced dropout. He's the best in the game at the moment, Munster, in my opinion. Best in the comp. And I think he should stay fullback. I think, like we've clearly seen from the last 2 weeks, it's working. I think, until Jerome Hughes comes back from injury, Meaney and Cooper Johns might be able to do might be all right in the halves. They might be able to do the job. And then once Jerome Hughes comes back, I don't know. I think I could have Meany sticking at 6. I know he's not a regular half or first choice half like Cooper Johns is, but I think just as a running 5/8, and then Jerome Hughes can manage the game, because the Storm have now picked up Nofaluma. They've got Coates back from injury, so they don't really need Nick Meany to shift back to the wings. So if you have a back line of Munster at fullback, Nofaluma, Coates on the wing, Marion Seve and Olam in the centres, and then Meany and Hughes in the halves, I think that's really good. And if the Storm show the kind of energy that they showed in this game against the Panthers, then, I mean, they could easily go deep into the finals. We started to doubt them, and now they've put in a performance like this, beating literally the top team. Never doubt the Storm. They're just insane. And that's the thing, for the past month or a bit, that I know they've been, riddled with injuries and stuff, but for the most part, they've had a really competitive team. They've had the team to do it, but it's almost just been an energy thing, and I've noticed a massive change in this game. They just had so much energy, especially right at the start. They were all getting behind the ball, wanting to have a run, wanting to have a hit up. Just seemed like they were really working as a team this game, and you can see how high energy this game was for the first 20 minutes, because after 20 minutes both teams were gassed, because they were both trying to keep up with each other. Crazy high intensity game, real finals footy stuff. But Panthers being kept scoreless. Now, I know they had a lot of outs. No Dylan Edwards or Taylor May. Both gone during pre-game or something, or maybe May wasn't. I think Edwards was. And of course, without their halves, Luai and Cleary, and without James Fisher-Harris, so a lot of massive outs there for the Panthers. But still, being kept scoreless, though, that's surprising, but I don't think it's anything to be worried about. Even if the Panthers drop a few games here going into these last few rounds before finals, I won't be that concerned. Just because they'll get I think they get all their stars back pretty much all in time for finals. And I think they'll be there on grand final night. I don't think that's in doubt. What else? Isaiah Yeo and Api Coruscant will really stepping up for this game without all their, their biggest stars, and with Api being the only first choice player that they usually pick in their spine. No Edwards or Cleary, so Yeo and Api really trying their hardest and standing up for all their big losses. Isaiah Yeo had 126 running meters, 10 hit-ups, 2 offloads, and 48 tackles. It wasn't enough. And other big performers for the game, Brandon Smith off the bench for the Storm. He was explosive. One try, that try he got, he was just running at 1,000,000 miles an hour and no one could stop him. Pretty impressive from the Cheese. Also 151 running meters, 1 line break, 13 hit-ups, and 44 tackles as well. That's crazy. It was a really good dynamic between him and Harry Grant, because Harry Grant wasn't really focusing on his running game in this one. He was leaving that to Brandon Smith. So shout out to Harry Grant with 68 tackles for the game. He was in a very defensive mindset. And also big Nelson Asfa-Solomona, 130 running meters, 52 post-contact meters, 10 tackle breaks, 17 hit-ups, 3 offloads, 30 tackles, and most impressively 65 minutes, because I think he had to shift to second row at one point as well. I forget why. But I think he played a lot of second row for the game as well. So 65 minutes for Big Nelson. That's the kind of performances the Storm need from that big guy. Because look, if you're that big, you should be doing well in the NRL. You should be one of the best props in the game. So great numbers from him. He really stepped up. Yeah, that's about it for this game. One last thing is that Xavier Coates nearly scored the greatest try of all time right on the stroke of halftime. That one where he's like fully horizontal over the sideline, but he was just out as he was putting the ball down. But yeah, Xavier Coates nearly greatest try of all time. But that's it for that game. Moving on to the Warriors and the Bulldogs, the first game on Friday night. Warriors finished with a wet sail to overpower Bulldogs, with them winning 42-18. The Warriors rarely rack up a score like this, so how good was it to see, especially in New Zealand at Mount Smart. I think Warriors are 2 from 3 at Mount Smart since they've been back there after COVID. And yeah, I mean, as I said, it's so good to watch when the Warriors are playing attacking footy and they're racking up scores like this and they're playing really well, and especially when it's at the hands of Sean Johnson coming up with try assists and even a try for his own. How about it, Magic Johnson back with a step through the line and then the dummy. Oh, perfect. That was so good to watch. Yeah, and I mean, look, the Warriors, it's an upset because I tipped the Doggies, but this game could have gone either way. I could definitely see the Warriors winning. They hadn't in a while, and yeah, they did it. The Warriors were the better team pretty much for the whole game, but they were, to be fair, they were keeping the Bulldogs in the contest for a while. Their discipline, the Warriors' discipline, wasn't great, especially in the first half. They were giving away penalties when the Bulldogs were coming out of their own end. They had a few errors. It wasn't, the cleanest game, cleanest high-quality game like the previous one on Thursday, but pretty greasy conditions, I think it was, down in New Zealand on that night. But yeah, then the Warriors just ran away with it at the end. And yeah, moving on to the Bulldogs, pretty disappointing. They were very sloppy in attack for most of the game, I noticed, particularly in the first half, and particularly Matt Burton's left edge. I just feel like they weren't clicking. Something was a bit off. And yeah, because I think the ball hit a ground a few times with passes. They ended up throwing an intercept. Dallin Watene-Zelezniak running most of the field and scoring. But yeah, look, none of the teams vying for finals footy, so nothing to be overly concerned about for the Bulldogs, I don't think. The top performers for the game: Adam Fanua-Blake, 1 try, 195 running metres, 88 post-contact metres, 15 hit-ups and 1 offload. Reece Walsh was another one, 14 points. He got all 7 out of 7 conversions. He got 134 running metres, 2 line break assists, 2 try assists, and 8 tackle breaks. And Josh Curran, 128 running metres, 1 line break, 12 hit-ups, 2 offloads, and 30 tackles without a miss. And shining light for the Bulldogs, Raymond Faitala-Mariner playing lock. I think he played 80 minutes, all 80 minutes at lock. 160 running metres, 81 post-contact metres, 12 hit-ups, and 40 tackles without a miss. He was trying his heart out there, Raymond. And shout out to Tohu Harris as well, getting through 72 metres at prop, 223 running metres, which I think topped the game for running metres. And it's Tohu Harris, how good, toiling away with 91 post-contact metres as well. 1 line break assist, 15 hit-ups, and 33 tackles with just 1 miss. for Tohu. All right, moving on to the second Friday game, the Eels versus the Rabbitohs. Bunnies big guns fire warning shot in the Eels shutout. Yeah, the Bunnies big guns really stepped up in this game for a dominant win, 26-0. You had Latrell Mitchell, Cameron Murray, Damien Cook, Cody Walker, all really stepping up, putting in some really good performances. Mitchell just keeps on doing what he's doing. He's incredible. Posting 211 running meters, 3 line breaks, 2 line break assists, 1 try assist, 9 tackle breaks, and 2 offloads. And even sending a warning shot to the rest of the comp after the game. How good from Latrell. Love the theatre. He's just so good to watch. And his combination with Johnston continues. With his combo with Johnston and the amount of tries it produces, I was thinking the other day, what's like the best combo in the comp? Is it Latrell and Johnston? Is it the Fox and Birdo for the Bulldogs, or even Reynolds and Cobbo for the Broncos? It's all these wingers getting into the game now through their halves, and for the Rabbitohs, their fullback Mitchell. But Latrell is basically another half for the Rabbitohs. Always doing those cutout passes and setting up tries. And that meant, and with him and Cody Walker firing, Cody Walker had one of his better games for the year. I think he's been really underwhelming and really quiet, but he had a really good game with 2 tries, 1 line break, 20 tackles, 333 kicking meters, and 2 forced dropouts. Cody had a really solid game. It's good to see when he does. And so with him and Latrell firing, Dean Hawkins came in as the halfback to this game, with Lachlan Ilias out. It looks like he was out pre-game with a hamstring. Not sure how long he's out for. So Dean Hawkins came in as halfback, and he just did the job. He didn't need to do a whole lot. I think he was pretty solid from memory, and really just doing what Lachlan Ilias would do, almost like a direct replacement. They looked really similar in their styles. I thought he had a solid game. Dean Hawkins for the Rabbitohs. The other big performers for the game, Cameron Murray, 22 runs, 189 running meters, 2 line break assists, 4 offloads, and 42 tackles without a miss. That's a regular for Cameron. Keeps doing what he's doing. And Damien Cook, 102 running meters, 1 line break assist. 102 running meters, that's good for a hooker. 1 line break assist, 1 try assist, 2 offloads, and 45 tackles. And shout out to Totola and Koloamatangi as well. Those guys have been really solid over the last few weeks, and they're continuing that form. As for the Eels, their best statistical player was probably Sean Lane, 178 running meters, 92 post-contact meters, 1 line break assist, 16 hit-ups, 2 offloads, and 42 tackles. Sean Lane's been one of the best back rowers in the whole comp this year, I reckon. He's been really solid and going under the radar, but Sean Lane's a good one. And shout out to Reid Marnie as well, 65 tackles. And Clint Gutherson as well. He doesn't always rack up the numbers on his performances, but you could tell he was trying his heart out. He's just trying desperately to get the Eels any points. But the fact that the Eels were kept scores, I thought the Eels had turned the corner after beating the Panthers and Manly in the last 2 weeks. I could have easily seen them going down to Manly after a big performance against Penrith the week prior, because of how inconsistent they've been this year. But winning 2 big games on the trot like that, I thought, okay, This could be good. And look, I still tip the Bunnies to win, but I expected the Eels to be a lot more competitive. I mean, going down to nil. Yeah, I think this assures that I don't think the Eels can. I don't think they'll be there on grand final night, and maybe not even the prelims. I could see them getting to prelims, but they need to sort out this inconsistency quick, because Dylan Brown, it didn't help that Dylan Brown had a really quiet night, I think. Yeah, because I mean, when Brown, without Mitchell Moses, they need Brown to fire, and he did against Manly, and that's pretty much why the Eels won. In this one, he was super quiet, and so, yeah, couldn't help out the Eels with any points whatsoever. Yeah, that's pretty much it for that game, I think. So, moving on to the Roosters and Cowboys. Roosters run away from Cowboys to make it 5 straight, winning 32-18. Yeah, 5 straight for the Roosters, and they're still 8th. How crazy is that? And yeah, I mean, and with a few more losses later in the weekend, I think this almost assures the top 8. Can't see Roosters falling out now, especially with their 5 straight form. Although, like, just a couple more losses, and if the Raiders keep winning, then the Raiders could leapfrog them. But I can't see how Roosters won't make finals. And like, if they're still like 8th at the time, like, literally 8th could win the comp. That's how competitive this final series is. Whoever's in 8th is going to be like a really good team, and they could almost go all the way. I think I don't think there are some of the top 8 teams I can't see being there on grand final night. Probably like the Broncos and the Eels, but like, yeah, it doesn't matter. Whichever team's going to be in 8th, they're going to be really competitive. But yeah, Roosters 5 in a row. It was a day for the forwards, with Sam Verrills having a day out. He scored 2 tries, and Warrior Hargraves and who was the other one? Matt Lodge, both scoring meaties. So all the Roosters forwards getting in on the action, and even Cowboys, Reece Robson scored for them. And, it honestly kept guys like Tedesco and Joey Manu quiet, because all these forwards were scoring. The best the best statistical performer was arguably Reece Robson with 1 try, 77 running meters, 1 line break, 1 offload, and 57 tackles. He was at least the best for the Cowboys. But Sam Verrills, as I said, had a day out. 2 tries, 2 line breaks, 1 line break assist, 1 try assist, 1 offload, and 35 tackles. Yeah, I think the Titans will be happy with that performance if he can continue that kind of form for them. And Ruben Cotter as well. He had a solid game for the Cowboys. 56 minutes in the front row, 108 running meters with 11 hit-ups, 1 offload, and 48 tackles with just 1 miss. And also a shout out to Victor Radley's ball playing. He, as well as 123 running meters, he got 2 line break assists and 2 try assists, 11 hit-ups and 37 tackles. Good game for Victor the Inflictor, because he was pretty much the one setting up the tries and not any of the halves. Yeah, it was definitely a day out for the forwards, setting up and scoring tries. And also for the wingers, I think all 4 wingers scored, so the full box set. Yeah. Is there anything really more to say about that? It's I don't know. Like, it should be more surprising, right? The team 8th beating the team in 2nd, but for some reason the Roosters were going in as favourites for this game, and I just kind of went along with it. I tipped the Chooks as well, just because they've been in such good form, and then they come out and beat the Cowboys. It feels like it's not really a big deal, but I mean, Team 8 beating Team number 2 should be a pretty big upset. But yeah, what's the Cowboys draw for the rest of the year? Are they going to drop any more games, or was this just like a one-off to a red hot Roosters side? Yeah, obviously they were coming off beating the Dragons and Bulldogs before that. They've got the Warriors, who they should beat at home. That's at home as well. Then they've got the Rabbitohs and Panthers. Okay, so yeah, Cowboys like better stay on their toes. They don't want to lose too much form before finals, because like as we know, like you just like drop a couple games and then you're immediately down into the 5th to 8th zone where you don't get a second chance in finals. So Cowboys should stay on their toes, but I'm not overly worried. I think they'll bounce back and beat the Warriors. Yes, and moving on to the second Saturday game, the West Tigers versus the Sharks. The Sharks score 6 to power past the Tigers in Tamworth, with the Sharks winning 36-12. I think it was a very expected scoreline from this game. I just assumed the Sharks would dominate. Yeah, top performer for the game, Nico Hines. He's been incredible this year. 25 runs and 223 running meters for a half. He topped the running meters for any player, I think. Nico Hines, incredible. 1 line break assist, 1 try assist, 1 offload, and 322 kicking meters. And shout out to Cade Dykes and Lachlan Miller as well. They're filling in really well in the back line at the moment. Dykes is just electric. That break he got and went, gained about 70 meters or something like that. I don't know. He made a really good break in the game. I think it was in the second half, just swerving, weaving in and out of players. He's got electric speed, and even Lachie Miller, he was wasn't as explosive in Dykes in this game, but I thought he made some really good runs, breaking tackles, and he even set up Cade Dykes' first try as well. First try in the NRL, so that was a great moment with a beautiful kick on the inside and Dykes supporting. Cameron McInnes was also really good for the Sharks. 59 minutes off the bench, 138 running meters, 1 line break, 13 hit-ups, 2 offloads, and 36 tackles. Incredible getting through a mountain of work there, Cameron McInnes. Royce Hunt and Braden Hamlin-Uele were also really good, both scoring tries, I think. As for the Tigers, the shining light was probably Adam Dewey. He didn't post up big numbers, but he got 104 running meters, 3 offloads, 28 tackles, and 351 kicking meters. The Tigers showing no urgency in this game whatsoever. Looked like they'd given up very early in the game. Pretty disappointing from the Tigers, because I thought they've been in I know they've been down down near the bottom of the game, but bottom of the ladder, but I thought they've been playing decently, enough to be better than the wooden spoon, but not after this performance. That wasn't very good. They were showing no urgency at all. It feels like some weeks for Amanu Brown just scooting from dummy half and sneaking a try is the only thing they can do. I know they scored again with Luke Garner. That was a good try. Sometimes they're just it's literally just New Brown scoring and then they can't find any other points. But yeah, is there anything else to say about that game? I don't think so. Alright, and moving on to the final game of Saturday, the Broncos versus the Knights. This was also another expected result. The Broncos obviously losing their previous 2. So they needed to bounce back, and they did. And now they suddenly find themselves ahead of the Eels. Like, it's just like every week, if like one of the big teams loses, they just drop down like in like to 6th, 7th, or 8th, and like just out of nowhere. That's how competitive the 8 is. But yeah, Broncos getting the win they needed over a very lackadaisical night. Love that word, lackadaisical. Yeah, it was good footy to watch. A good, like, I just love watch. Like, when the Broncos are on, they're one of the best teams to watch. They're one of my favourites to watch. They were like running circles around the Knights with all their set plays, gaining easy meters, just with Tamari Martin being the link man and shifting it on to either Staggs or Cobbo. Tamari Martin's like making an immediate impact. You can see coming back in replacement of Tessie New. I think the Broncos need to stick with Tamari Martin as their fullback going into finals. I know Tessie New is more explosive, but Tamari Martin just has something about him. He's just like, he has such a sleight of hand. It's beautiful to watch. Just so silky. I love him. He's doing really well. I think he got 2 line break assists and 2 try assists for this game. Corey Oates, really good game. He was kind of overshadowed by his other wing partner, Selwyn Cobbo, bagging a hat-trick and just being the excitement machine he is. But Corey Oates, I thought, was really good. Yeah, what was his numbers? 1 try. He got a try for himself. 20 runs, 223 running meters, 79 post-contact meters, 1 line break, 9 tackle breaks, and 4 kick defusals. Yeah, Corey Oates, really good. And that try that he scored, that's 19 tries for the year, and I think that's his most tries in a season ever, which is really surprising because you'd think in that Broncos dominance from 2015, well, not dominance, but they're making finals every time and being top 4 from like 2015 to 2019. Yeah, they're a bit low down 19, but making finals footy between that period, the Corey Oates would have had like a bigger standout year, and I thought he did, but there you go. He's got his biggest try tally for a season this year, and well deserved. This is honestly one of his best seasons in the game. Corey Oates doing really well. But yeah, as mentioned, Selwyn Cobbo getting a hat-trick, 196 running meters as well, with 3 line breaks, 10 tackle breaks, and 1 intercept. Those 3 tries kind of bagging him the easy statistical winner for the game. Payne Haas, obviously getting through the truckload of work that he does with 17 hit-ups, 184 running meters, 83 post-contact meters, and 43 tackles without a miss. Incredible from Payne Haas. Yeah, also Adam Reynolds, his kicking game was sublime. He had it on a string. And even his passing game, when he was like faking the kicks and then passing it on, incredible. The big guy, the big guns for the Broncos standing up as they usually do. It was a classic 2022 Broncos performance there. Did I say the scoreline? I'm not sure. They beat the Knights 28-10, but pretty comfortable. And as for the Knights, whew, shocking. Yeah, their shining light was Tyson Frizzell with 14 hit-ups, 143 running meters, 71 post-contact meters, and 36 tackles. But, I mean, he's trying his heart out getting the work done, but then he's, no one's going off the back of that. I just honestly forget about the Knights every week. They're just not good to watch at the moment when they're playing pretty poorly. One of their tries arguably shouldn't even been a try, the Bradman Best try where Brodie Jones ran through and arguably obstructed Reynolds. I don't know. I thought it was an obstruction. I'm not that good with knowing the ins and outs of obstruction. But I don't know, it looked like it fucking to me. He ran on the the outside shoulder of Reynolds, um, and like hampered him. It seemed quite a lot. But anyway, I think Graham Annesley went through it and said that it wasn't, but I didn't catch that. And other than that, yeah, Daniel Safidi was the only other try scorer, just getting a one-on-one with a smaller man, and just crashing over. Yeah, but the Knights are in all sorts at the moment. I don't like to. Well, I don't want to pick out players, but like Dane Gagai making another 5 missed tackles. And the thing is, they can't. Like, I would even be like, would you drop Dane Gagai if they could? But that's the thing. It's if they could, because the Knights like can't really drop a lot of their players because their reserve grades like aren't going that well either, and they've got no. Well, it doesn't seem like they have like a lot of really exciting juniors coming through that they're blooding, each game as debutants. So like, who can they drop? Who can they replace these underperforming players with? They're coming 9th out of 12 teams in the New South Wales Cup, I think, at the moment, the Knights. So yeah, I don't know. I don't expect the Knights to improve really this year. Let's have a look at their draw. Yeah, and worrying signs for next year as well, because I'm not sure have they even signed anyone that can turn this around? They're losing Milford. I mean, I don't even think Milford should be starting as their 6. I think they need to look to next year, and they need to go with Clifford and Clune. So they play the Raiders, the Titans, and the Sharks. I mean, will they win another game? I know one of them is the Titans, but after this week's Titans, they might not even win that. So that's very concerning for the Knights. But is that about it for this game? I think so. Alright, so we're going to move on to Sunday's games, starting off with the Raiders and the Dragons. The Raiders survive a wild finish to beat the Dragons and ending the Dragons' finals hopes as well, winning 24-22 and not without controversy. So good, like round 16 when these two teams met earlier this year in round 16. It was the Dragons that got the Chockies by 2 points, but in that game, Ben Hunt jumped out from marker in the last second of the game and stopped the last play with a tackle. But you could see at first I thought it was fair game. It was all right. Like Ben Hunt just being witty and quick and jumping out from marker, but if you play it slow, he was not square. So that should have been a penalty. And then in this game, literally dying seconds again, except the roles are reversed. So the Dragons are trying to win the game. They make a break through Ben Hunt doing a beautiful ball to Matthew Fangai, and Figai gets tackled, and Corey Harawira-Nairo is all over him with a few seconds to go, and the ref doesn't blow the penalty. So look, at least the refs are being consistent. They knew that they did the Raiders dirty in round 16, so when they were facing the Dragons, so this time they did the Dragons dirty by not blowing the whistle. So yeah, no, look, not good from the refs. It should have been a penalty. Yeah, look, what can you do? The Raiders keeping their finals hopes alive and ending the Dragons' finals hopes, and without Ricky Stewart as well. No Ricky, no worries. So yeah, and the top performers for the game, most of them were actually Dragons. players, because they were really coming to get the Raiders at the end there, especially Talatau Moan. I mean, like, he literally could have carried the team to finals. I know we're still a few weeks out and it was looking unlikely, but he was like, it looked like he was the only one trying, with 3 tries, a hat trick, 70 running meters, 3 line breaks, 1 line break assist, 1 try assist, 8 tackle breaks, and 1 offload. Talatau Moan, absolutely brilliant performance, and Ben Hunt was also stepping up. Their halves were stepping up. They were trying their hardest. Ben Hunt creating kicking history with a 140-20 and 120-40 in the same game. In the same game of footy, the first time it's ever been done, I think. So, and also Jack Bird. Jack Bird played lock, I think, for 67 minutes. 67 minutes of lock. He had 68 running meters, 1 line break assist, 1 try assist, 8 tackle breaks, 1 offload, and 36 tackles. Well done, Jack Bird. Good game. And as for the Raiders, their top statistical performer was arguably Josh Papali'i. 16 hit-ups, 150 running meters, 60 PCMs, 3 offloads, and 25 tackles. And also shout out to Xavier Savage. He got 2 try assists. So that's good to see that he's expanding his game a little more. Because obviously as a fullback in the NRL, you're gonna need that. You're gonna need to be setting up tries almost more than you are scoring them. But so yeah, Xavier Savage, he showed a nice sleight of hand, I think, to score one out wide to Jordan Rapana, and then he also put a kick through for Albert Hopewadi to score right in the in goal, little grubber. So yeah, good to see from Xavier Savage. And also shout out to Ryan Sutton. What a charge down to score a try for the Raiders. Love to see that. That is good stuff from the big man. Yeah, so disappointing for the Dragons. I think I've doubted the Dragons on occasion this year, and I thought their finals chances would have been out earlier than this point in the season. But the Dragons have honestly been pretty good this year. Probably better than I was expecting. Actually, I think I had them in my top 8 though. I think I had them coming 8th, but and that was almost a nearly good prediction because as a bit of a smoky. But I don't know. I could have easily seen them down near the bottom of the ladder. But the Dragons doing well. But yeah, 1C finals. And the trend continues when another team is now out of finals contention on the Sunday, with the Manly Sea Eagles going down to the Titans. The Titans thumped the Sea Eagles for the first win in 3 months, winning 44-24. Very high scoring Sunday afternoon on the Gold Coast. Yeah, wow, really, really disappointing from Manly. I was okay. The bias is going out the window. You guys might know I'm a Manly fan, but geez, it's hard to be after that kind of performance, losing to the bottom team. I know. Yeah, it says here Titans win in first 3 in 3 months. I think they're on 10-game losing streak. So they had to win at some point, and I was scared that was going to be this game. I was like, oh, well, the Titans haven't won in ages. They're gonna beat Manly here. I was at least a bit scared of that happening, and that's exactly what happened. But props to the Titans. That looked like a really confident performance. I know Manly played pretty shocking, but the Titans also played well. And they no longer lost, jumping over the Tigers on for and against, which I still don't think is deserved. I think the Tigers have been a lot better this year, but we'll see what happens by the end of the year. Maybe the Titans will hit some form. Let's look at the draw for the Titans, but AJ Brimson put the game to bed in the second half. He was absolutely electric, making line breaks, he obviously scored like an amazing try where he's just like dancing around the Manly defenders. Manly weren't doing anything about it. They didn't want to touch him. What am I looking at here? Let's look at the Titans draw. And will they show a bit of resolve in the last few weeks of the season? They've got the Dragons, the Knights, and the Warriors. Yeah, honestly, like the Titans, Dragons, Knights, Warriors. The Titans could show a bit of resolve at the end of the season here. All beatable teams if they put in a performance like this. But yeah, AJ Brimson, he got 1 try, 153 running meters, 2 line breaks, 1 try assist, 8 tackle breaks, 1 offload, 22 tackles, and 2 forced dropouts. Yeah, he put the game to bed. And his halves partner Tanner Boyd as well, doing the work that was required of him. With 7, he was taking the conversions as well. 7 out of 7 he got of them, and also a penalty goal. So Tanner Boyd got like 16 points for the game, as well as 1 line break assist, 1 try assist, 320 kicking meters, and 2 forced dropouts. Taking over the kicking as well. So Tanner Boyd doing his job while AJ Brimson is running riot as the running 5/8. I'm not sure what the Titans' spine looks like next year because obviously they're getting Kieran Foran, and they probably would have liked to see a bit more of Kieran in this game. But obviously getting Kieran Foran, he will definitely be in the halves. I think AJ, watching him play like this, I think AJ should be in the halves with him. And then you need to keep Jaden Campbell at fullback, so I just feel like Toby Sexton, I'm not sure what they're going to do with him. One of the other teams might cop the sacrifice. Toby Sexton might stay, but I just feel like you've got to have both Jaden Campbell and AJ in there. So does Toby Sexton go back to reserve grade for a year? Does he bide his time, or will he not want to? I don't know. Maybe the Titans have completely other plans. But looks like there's no headaches with their back rows. David Fifita and Beau Fermor having both really good games. David Fifita lighting up the numbers. 76 meters. No, sorry, not meters. 76 minutes. He got 167 running meters. A try. A classic David Fifita try. Breaking Manly's hearts with that kind of run. Shouldn't be doing that. But 1 line break, 8 tackle breaks, 12 hit-ups, 5 offloads. Whew, that's a lot of offloads. And 17 tackles without a miss. And then Beau Fermor as well, going under the radar as he does, underrated back rower with 2 tries, 154 running meters, 12 hit-ups, 1 offload, and 31 tackles. The Titans were just all over Manly, too dominant. As for Manly, Jake Trbojevic was just about the only one trying. He was busting a gut to get his team back in the game, even with a try, a meat pie, and like pretty much his only line break and tackle breaks of the year with 1 line break and 3 tackle breaks, and still putting in 38 tackles. Jakey trying his heart out, and like the fact that like he, after every week and after these losses they've been getting, he's always the one to front the media, the post-game interviews. He looks like he's hurting, all the time with this kind of Manly form, but props to him. He's fronting the media. He's a legend, Jakey. I didn't watch this game because I was busy, but I'm kind of glad I didn't. So I don't really know like if any of the other Manly players really stood up, or like if there were any other redeeming players. I think Brad Parker had a solid-ish game. He scored a try, and doing the hard carries out of his own end. But I'm not really sure if Brad Parker should stay in the back line that we have at the moment. Again, I don't want to pick on players, but Cherry Evans, he had a bit of a shocker. He had 3 errors and conceded 3 penalties just by himself. And he also did a short dropout. He attempted a short dropout but missed it about 2 minutes before halftime, and it was 18-12 at this point, meaning the Titans could just get an easy 2 points, leading at halftime 20-12. I don't know why Ches went short. Surely they just go long. Then they're only 6 points down at halftime. I mean, the Titans could have scored, but I don't know what he's doing there. But to be fair, I've heard a lot from my Manly friends, and we like to do this a lot. But apparently, I'm going to believe him. Apparently, there was some pretty shocking ref calls. They were pretty against us, including a Dylan Walker sin bin. I didn't miss that. That's a joke. It's an absolute joke. Dylan Walker getting sin bin for that high tackle. So what? Every high tackle is just going to get a sin bin now? Seems like it. Seems like it. If they want to stay consistent with that sin bin, but I'm not asking for it. But yeah, that's it for the weekend. The round that was round 22. Yeah, that's it for the round review. I will stay tuned. I will preview the next round, round 23. With the team lists, and then I will probably go into my tipping as well for the weekend. But yeah, that's it, guys. If you stuck around, thanks so much for tuning in. Don't forget to follow Get On The Stats on Instagram, and stay tuned for more podcast episodes like this. But yeah, that's it, guys. Catch you around. Catch ya.